The day before my wedding, my fiancé, for the sake of his new love, killed the dog I had raised for 10 years. The next day, the city eagerly awaited the heir of the Vance's wedding, but the bride fled the wedding. When found me at the airport, he frowned in confusion. It was just a dog. Is it really worth this? If you leave now, don't even think about coming back ever. I looked at him listlessly, resolutely choosing to leave. But no one could have predicted that within a year, the proud and arrogant heir of the Vance would one day bow his head and kneel, simply hoping his arrogant fiancée would return to him. Lucky was dead. When I received his body, a foul odor emanated from the box. He looked like he had been dead for a long time. I felt a little dazed. I remembered Lucky when he first came into my life. My parents died when I was young, and Lucky was the only family I had left. He was always well-behaved and sensible, panting happily every day, waiting for me to come home in the empty house. He had kept vigil for 10 years. I thought Lucky would be there with me until my wedding, watching me wear the most exquisite wedding gown, marry the man I loved most, and become the happiest couple with him. But now Lucky was a cold corpse. The cruelest irony was that he had been a gift from the man I loved most, and now he had been beaten to death by that same man's orders. My hands trembled, but I didn't have the courage to open the box. My strength drained, and I collapsed to the floor. Tears streamed down, and I sobbed uncontrollably. How could Marcus be so cruel? How could he? I had never truly seen this man, never recognized the cold-blooded cruelty beneath his surface. I was utterly disheartened. Just then, Marcus sent me a text message. "Grace, if you can't control your dog from biting people, then for our safety after marriage, I had no choice but to kill him. Consider this a lesson." I handled it this way to give Chloe some peace of mind. Remember, our wedding in G is tomorrow. Get ready. I let out a few cold laughs. Marcus killed Lucky, and he still expected me to marry him. A few days prior, Chloe, unhappy with my marriage plans to Marcus, came to my house to cause trouble. She almost pushed me down the stairs. It was Lucky who sensed something was wrong and barked relentlessly. He desperately clung to her sleeve, refusing to let go, which allowed me to narrowly escape. The commotion attracted a neighbor who immediately called the police. But in front of the officers, Chloe twisted the story. She cowered, sobbing that Lucky had bitten her. When arrived at the police station, Chloe immediately threw herself into his arms, putting on an innocent facade. Back then, I disdained arguing with Chloe. I believed the Marcus I knew would never fall for such nonsense. It wasn't until days after returning home, when Lucky still hadn't come back, that I realized something was wrong. By the time I tried to find him, it was too late. From the very beginning, I had been wrong. I was wrong to not understand my place. Our union was merely a marriage of convenience, and my unwavering love for him all these years had blinded me. I thought he was at the very least a person who could distinguish right from wrong. Only now did I truly awaken. He wasn't the good man I imagined. The Marcus who used to protect me was long gone. It was my foolishness that ultimately cost the life of Lucky, the only one in this world who truly loved me. I buried Lucky under the big tree in the backyard of the ancestral estate. It was cool there, and stray cats and dogs often came to forage for fruit. Lucky always loved company. Next, I booked a plane ticket to Riverbend. I silently packed my luggage. Marcus called again, but I didn't answer. "Are tomorrow's arrangements ready?"
Reply.
His text messages kept flashing on the screen. I took a deep breath, feeling utterly disgusted. The advanced families had been close for generations. Our parents, unbeknownst to us, arranged an engagement between Marcus and me when we were children. Then, a car accident tragically took my parents. The day they were laid to rest, the entire Vance family came to offer condolences. Young held me, almost fainting from crying, in his arms, consoling me repeatedly. "Don't cry, Grace. From now on, my mom will be your mom, and my dad will be your dad." His voice was strong and clear, not at all like a child's. I stared at him blankly. He entered my life like a hero. From then on, I developed a different kind of feeling for Marcus. His first gift to me was Lucky. Lee's arrival filled my home with much warmth. From that day, I always had him and Lucky protecting me. From middle school through college, whenever I was bullied, Marcus would step in. When I was mocked for being an orphan, he would even beat them until they were spitting teeth. Everyone believed Marcus and I were destined to be together until his parents told him that we would marry and become husband and wife. He was always rebellious, disliked his parents' stifling control over him for over a decade, and especially disliked the arranged marriage they had set up. Moreover, he had always only seen me as a sister. Marcus' life had always been dictated by his parents, and this was no different. But he wanted to live for himself for once. So at that time, he conceived the idea of running away from the wedding. He took my hand and said with hopeful anticipation, "Grace, if we both eloped from the engagement, my parents won't force us to be together anymore." But I hesitated. In the end, out of selfishness, I didn't choose to leave. His initial hope turned into disappointment. "So you're on their side after all." "Grace, I really misjudged you." From that day on, he never looked at me kindly again until appeared. Marcus met Chloe when he was drowning his sorrows at a bar. He was unhappy about his impending engagement to me, but felt helpless, so he sought solace and alcohol. When I found Marcus in the booth he'd reserved, Chloe was already nestled in his arms, and he was playfully nuzzling her nose. I suppressed the pain in my heart and stood before Marcus. "Marcus, let's go home."
Get lost. He didn't even look at me.
"Aunt is worried about you." He lifted his gaze to me, but his eyes were filled with disgust, making me catch my breath. "Grace, what are you doing pretending to be a good person here?" A wave of bitterness rose in my heart. "Marcus, I want to marry you because you're the only one in this world I trust." The enormous inheritance my parents left behind made all the prominent families salivate. In recent years, countless prominent families had come to my house to propose marriage. How could I not know their intentions? I hesitated for a moment, then spoke my thoughts aloud. I looked at him full of anticipation. "Marcus, you're the only one who has ever truly been good to me. That's why I hope to marry you. Will you give me a home? A home just for the two of us. Don't you like me even a little bit?" His gaze at me held a hint of confusion. Just as I was about to pluck up the courage to take his hand and leave, Chloe interrupted everything. Her expression was cautious. "You must be Miss Grace, right? I heard Mr. Marcus mentioned you when we first met a few days ago, saying you were the fiancé the Vance family had already chosen for him. I'm so sorry you saw Mr. Marcus behaving this way towards me today. He's only like this because he's had too much to drink. Normally, Mr. Marcus and I aren't this intimate. Please don't misunderstand." Marcus's eyes immediately turned cold. "Why are you explaining anything to her? My mother arranged her. It's not like I'm determined to marry her. She has no right to control me. Come on, let's keep drinking." In just a few words, Chloe had successfully provoked Marcus. Marcus held her and left. Before leaving, Chloe looked at me with a thoughtful expression. After that day, Marcus never appeared again. His social media was filled with daily partying, always with Chloe by his side. Our mutual friends secretly told me that Chloe had spread many rumors about me, and then she cleverly made sure Marcus heard these rumors. For example, that I had hired someone to beat up Chloe to force Marcus to marry me, or that my goal in marrying Marcus wasn't love, but to gradually devour the Vance family's assets. Marcus gradually believed her lies and grew to utterly despise me. He stopped wanting to see me and instead spend every day with Chloe. Other friends tried to dissuade him, but he snapped back at them. "You've all been blinded by Grace's honeyed words. Can't you see she's just manipulative and scheming? If you don't like Chloe, then you don't need to be my friends anymore." Chloe timidly hid in his arms, smiling with smug satisfaction. This matter quickly reached Eleanor. "Grace, Marcus is just sulking with us. Don't be sad. I'll call that rascal back to apologize to you." I managed a weak smile. "And if Marcus is unwilling, perhaps we should call off the marriage plans."
"How can we do that?"
"I promised your parents I would take good care of you. Besides, compared to all the unworthy people out there, we can only truly rest assured if Marcus marries you." Eleanor, without a word, immediately cut off his credit cards. Before long, Marcus reluctantly returned home. Henry was furious. "You're not allowed to leave this house until you marry Grace. Otherwise, I'll disown you as my son." Marcus looked at me with eyes full of resentment. "Grace, you really are something." With those words, he went upstairs. Eleanor held my hand, her face looking somewhat worn. "Someday this rascal will understand who truly cares for him. Grace, promise, and you won't give up on him." "Okay." I nodded with difficulty, but I was also so tired. Marcus didn't love me. Could a marriage like ours truly be happy? At the engagement ceremony, Lucky was by my side, glaring at Marcus with hostility. Marcus's expression, however, remained indifferent, as if he weren't attending his own wedding reception. He placed the diamond ring on my finger, but the words he whispered in my ear were bone-chilling. "Grace, I will never like you. Never." After the engagement, our relationship remained on thin ice. He doted on Chloe, and everyone could see it. I wanted to let go, but Henry and Eleanor's kindness in raising me was immense. In a fit of anger, Eleanor found Chloe's company and had the manager fire her. This, of course, ignited Marcus's fury. He came home and had a huge argument. During this argument, Henry suffered a sudden heart attack and was hospitalized. Henry's health deteriorated day by day, and he intended to step down and hand the Vance over to Marcus. The condition was that Marcus had to marry me. Marcus' desire for Vance was blatant. Only by getting his hands on the company could he break free from his parents' control and keep Chloe by his side. Meanwhile, Eleanor kept pleading with me to marry Marcus. So, Marcus agreed to marry me. Marcus and I had tormented each other for a year, from our engagement to this day. Throughout that year, only Lucky had stayed by my side. Whenever I cried late at night, he would lick my cheek. He didn't want me to be sad. All these years, Lucky had been my joy. In my life, besides Marcus, there was only Lucky. But now Lucky was dead. The boy who once promised to protect me forever was also dead in my heart. After packing my luggage, I took one last look at my phone wallpaper. It was a photo of Marcus and me from our high school graduation. He was smiling with playful arrogance while I stood in front of him, shy and demure. He was about half a head taller than me and made bunny ears behind my head with his hand. I changed the wallpaper to a plain white screen. Marcus' text messages kept popping up. "Isn't this the wedding you dreamed of and meticulously planned? Why are you playing disappearing acts now? Huh. Grace eyed to see what kind of stunt you're planning for tomorrow. Out of sight, out of mind." I simply turned off my phone. Before finally leaving, I went to visit Lucky under the big tree. I stroked the soil covering him. "Lucky, thank you for all your care these past years. I'm leaving now and I can't stay with you anymore. Will you be angry with me? Please forgive me for not protecting you." "I'm sorry, Lucky. I'm so sorry." I wiped away my tears and took one last deep look. Northwood held too many memories for me, but it was time to leave. Riverbend was a good place. I hoped my life would restart there. The next day, as the wedding began, Marcus called, and I fled the wedding. The much-anticipated wedding of the Vance Heir and Miss Grace ended in disgrace, with Miss Grace fleeing the wedding. News reports plastered the incident everywhere. Marcus' reputation was in tatters. He relentlessly searched for my whereabouts, wanting to confront me. Meanwhile, I was at the airport sipping coffee in the VIP lounge. News reports played in my headphones. What nerve to dare to abandon everything and choose to leave like that? Hearing someone call my name, I looked up. The man wore a trench coat which accentuated his excellent physique. His features were handsome, and as he stood before me, he had a half smile. "Ethan, what are you doing here?" Ethan was a university classmate of Marcus and mine. He was also the young scion of the Fu family. However, his relationship with Marcus had always been close, so I naturally didn't look favorably upon Marcus's friends. "If you want to tell Marcus I'm here, go ahead." The man raised an eyebrow. Why would I tell him? Whatever. I didn't want to waste any more words on him and decided to ask someone to get me a different lounge. Ethan chuckled. "Grace, we're on the same flight, and it's just the two of us in business class. If you don't mind, Why don't we sit together and keep each other company? Mr. Ethan, you make it. Do you like this as planned, but I'm not interested in keeping company with a friend of Marcus? He lowered his voice. Grace, you seem to misunderstand me. My relationship with Marcus isn't that close, and I only knew him because of Grace. A furious voice interrupted Ethan. Marcus, disregarding the staff's attempts to stop him, barged into the VIP lounge. His eyes blazed with uncontrollable rage. Grace, how dare you cross me? I frowned. Marcus, even if you're throwing a tantrum, at least consider the setting. Don't embarrass Aunt and Uncle here. The other guests in the VIP lounge secretly raised their phones. After all, Mr. Marcus had just been trending, and everyone recognized him. Grace, you used every trick in the book to make me marry you, and now you're playing hard to get. How dare you even flee the wedding? Do you have any respect for our Vance family? Marcus gripped my wrist, trying to forcibly drag me away. Go back now and marry me. Let me go. I struggled with all my might and broke free. I curled my lips into a sneer. Marcus, wasn't your greatest wish for me to get as far away from you as possible? Well, now I'm granting your wish. He froze. Ethan chimed in from the side. Yes, Marcus. I think Grace genuinely intends to let you go. Why are you still holding on? Go find Chloe. She's been crying so much over your wedding today that she has a high fever and is even threatening to jump from the hospital. Only then did Marcus notice Ethan. He asked, confused. Ethan, what are you doing here? Ethan shrugged. Coincidence. Grace and I are on the same flight. Chloe's matter can wait. Marcus impatiently interrupted, then continued. Grace, I just want to ask you, why did you flee the wedding? I retorted. How strange. I fled, that's all. Why would you, Marcus, care about such things?
Possessed.
His anger subsided slightly, and he frowned in confusion. It's not because of that dog, is it? My expression darkened. You have no right to mention Lucky. It was just a dog, and you're fleeing the wedding over it. I'm telling you now, if you leave, don't ever think about coming back. Not in this lifetime, he declared self-righteously. Even if you beg my mom, it won't matter. I said listlessly, don't worry, I'm never coming back. I expected Marcus to be overjoyed after I said that, but his expression stiffened for a moment. Finally, he gritted his teeth and said fiercely, don't you dare regret this. With those words, he stalked away. After he left, Ethan turned to me, looking serious. Grace, a man like Marcus isn't worth your sorrow. I forced a smile. I'm not sad. He was silent for a moment. Your smile is more heartbreaking than tears. It's certainly difficult to let go of someone you've loved for over a decade. I paused, then stated firmly, but I will move forward and forget everything from the past. Ethan paused. Then I hope your wish comes true. Before boarding the plane, I turned on my phone. I received a text message from Eleanor. My dear, I'm so sorry. I didn't consider your feelings. All this time, I knew you weren't happy. Yet I still pressured you, hoping you'd be with my son. To be honest, seeing you flee the wedding made happy. I also hope you have a wonderful future, so I can honor your parents' last wishes. Tears welled up in my eyes again, uncontrollably. Ethan sat beside me and offered me a handkerchief. With trembling hands, I sent my last text message. Aunt, thank you for everything over the years. I had always known that Eleanor wanted me to marry Marcus partly because of my parents' inheritance. But no matter which scion of a wealthy family I married, those assets would only be a bonus for them. Still, I never expected Ella Laner to ultimately respect my wishes and let me leave. She had genuinely been good to me all these years, raising me. In my eyes, Eleanor was like a second mother. Once I calmed down, I said to Ethan, thank you for the handkerchief. But speaking, of which, why are you here? Don't tell me it's fate that we're on this flight. I've never believed in fate. Ethan suddenly reached out and wiped away the tears I hadn't managed to clean from the corners of my eyes. His eyes held an indescribable emotion. Grace, before your wedding, I wanted to tell you that you don't owe anyone anything and you should live for yourself. But the moment I saw you flee the wedding, I knew I didn't need to say those words.
You were already doing it.
So I came. I want to go to Riverbend with you. You can treat me like air or anything you want, but I just want to be with you. I was stunned. You like me? We didn't really have any interactions before. The only time was that day when you and Marcus were playing basketball and I happened to buy you a drink. He smiled slightly.
Perhaps it was that day.
I fell in love with you at first sight. Ethan's intentions were obvious, but I wasn't in the mood to start a new relationship. He said he could wait for me forever. I just assumed he was joking. After all, I never believed in such promises. No one waits for another person their entire life. Once in Riverbend, I quickly settled everything. I bought a new villa and renovated it beautifully. Ethan bought a house next to mine, becoming my neighbor. He gave me a dog. He'll keep you company from now on, just like Lucky. How do you know about Lucky? Ethan seemed to know me very well. I went to your engagement ceremony and I could tell you loved the dog by your side, so I inquired about him with Marcus. He curled his lips into a smile. I've secretly admired you for many years, and now I finally have a chance, so why shouldn't I make a good impression? His playful demeanor made me laugh. You certainly know how to sweet talk.
Give him a name.
Let's call him Buddy. Amidst our laughter, I felt an ominous gaze fixed on us from a distance. A shiver ran down my spine, but when I looked back, no one was there. I never expected to see Chloe. A second time in this lifetime, she found me while I was trimming the flowers and plants in my yard. When I opened the door and saw it was her, I tried to close it immediately, but she blocked me. Her eyes were filled with venom. I know why you fled the wedding. Aren't you just trying to make Marcus remember you? She sneered. I bet you've heard some rumors these past few days and are secretly gloating. But rest assured, I won't let you succeed.
Give up now.
I looked at her, amused. If you're sick, go to a hospital. You flew all the way from Northwood just to tell me this. You must be quite idle. Maybe get a job. She fumed, pointing her finger at my nose. Do you know I've already told Marcus all about your filthy deeds? You and Marcus will never reconcile in this lifetime. Filthy deeds. My actions have always been honorable, unlike yours. I knew exactly how much effort you put into slandering me behind my back and constantly implying to Marcus that I was calculating. You're only standing here intact because I've been lenient with you, I said nonchalantly, my eyes filled with scorn for her. As for the future, be a good Mrs. Vance. Don't act like a mad dog, biting indiscriminately. Chloe was so enraged she became incoherent, unable to speak for a long time. In a fit of pique, she turned and left. I muttered, how bizarre. Who upset you? Ethan had appeared at my yard gate at some point. Just a lunatic came by, said some nonsense. I ignored her. It was Chloe, wasn't it? Ethan said mildly. She's been quite stressed lately. Don't you want to hear what happened? No interest. Chloe's affairs were undoubtedly related to Marcus. And I didn't want to hear either of their names. Ethan chuckled. If you're not interested, I won't bother you. This life is pretty good right now. Buddy jumped into my arms, panting and barking twice.
Come on.
Daddy's taking Buddy for some yummy treats. Ethan hugged Buddy close. I countered. When did Buddy become your son? Always. Ethan grinned mischievously. After all, he's the dog I gave you. I rolled my eyes. Have some shame. He teased softly. How else am I going to get a wife? Before I could respond, he quickly picked up Buddy and slipped away. Watching his retreating back, I suddenly felt a part of my heart warm for a moment. After spending half a year in Riverbend, news came that Henry was gravely ill. I'll go back with you. Ethan booked 2 plane tickets and carefully helped me pack my luggage. We rushed to Northwood Hospital early the next morning, but we were still too late.
Henry was gone.
I felt a pang of sadness, and Ethan put his arm around me. It's okay. Uncle will be all right wherever he is. I bang. A loud slam of the door interrupted our conversation. Marcus stood at the entrance, his eyes bloodshot. His expression was distorted as he rushed forward and punched Ethan. Ethan, unprepared, was knocked to the ground. He rubbed his bruised face and sneered. Ethan, how could you? How could you? Marcus roared like a madman. Marcus, have you lost your mind? I helped Ethan up and wiped his cheek. I asked with concern, "Are you okay?" Ethan leaned into my arms. "Grace, it hurts so much." I glared at Marcus, furious. "Apologize. Apologize. Why should I apologize?" "Grace, I initially thought your fleeing the wedding was some kind of trick, but I never imagined you were colluding with Ethan behind my back all along." Marcus's words were harsh, and I was beyond furious. He continued, "Grace, you really are something. You made me a laughingstock in Northwood, all to elope with this man. I truly misjudged you." I lunged forward and slapped him square across the face. He was stunned by my slap for a moment. I stared intently at this utterly unfamiliar man. "Marcus, clean up your language. I, Grace, have never done anything to betray you in my life. But I'm seeing you with Ethan right now. Are you daring to say you didn't leave me for him?" Ethan SD'd up and quick as lightning returned a punch. Marcus was knocked to the ground, gasping for breath. Ethan looked down at Marcus with contempt. "Marcus, you really are Chloe's loyal dog, aren't you? You believe whatever she says. She told you Grace was manipulative and scheming, that she went to great lengths to force you into marriage, and you actually believed it. You and Grace were childhood sweethearts, yet you wouldn't trust her character. Later, you and Chloe were inseparable every day, yet you demanded Grace couldn't be close to other men. Marcus, all of this is just your possessiveness at play. You have no idea how much Grace suffered before becoming utterly disheartened and choosing to leave." Ethan then threw a USB drive at him. "This contains all of Chloe's misdeeds. I hired a private detective to keep an eye on her. To be honest, I'm a petty person, and watching the misunderstanding between you and Grace, I couldn't have been happier. I originally wasn't going to tell you the truth, fearing you'd try to reconcile with Grace and she'd soften. But now, it seems there's no chance for you two anymore. So, telling you the truth and making you suffer will make me even happier." With that, Ethan gripped my hand. I didn't try to pull away. "Grace, don't leave." Marcus' faint voice reached my ears. I closed my eyes. "Ethan, take me away. I'll go see Aunt, then we'll return to Riverbend." Ethan's expression softened. "All right, whatever you wish." After we left the hospital room, Ethan was silent for a moment before finally speaking. "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have hidden so many things from you for my own selfish reasons. You have a right to know everything. Now, I'll tell you everything exactly as it happened." Ethan and I walked down the street, and he slowly recounted the story. After I fled the wedding, Ethan hired a private detective to monitor the Vance family's situation. Initially, Marcus spent his days partying.
Who is Grace anyway?
Good riddance. Now I am free. Chloe smiled brightly. "Congratulations, Mr. Marcus, on escaping your misery." The party lasted for several days, and he didn't visit Henry or Ella Laner once. Henry was utterly disappointed, but he was his only son, so he was helpless. However, after a few days, Marcus seemed absent-minded. He returned to Vance and worked diligently, taking on the responsibilities he shouldered. No one knew what happened during that time. It was just once when Marcus fell asleep in his office and suddenly woke up. He called out a name, Grace. In the following days, he went to work as usual, but he seemed distracted. As illness worsened, Marcus gradually took on the main burden of the Vance family. He spent every day navigating between partners and shareholder meetings. Utterly exhausted, Chloe visited him at the company a few times. He ate the lunchbox Chloe made for him, but after a few bites, he lost his appetite. Before long, his stomach problems flared up and he went to the hospital. He had always been a picky eater. He wouldn't eat the takeaway meals the housekeeper brought, nor the food Chloe sent. Hearing talk about this, I felt a moment of disorientation. Ethan pursed his lips. "You cooked for him for so many years. Your presence is in every one of his daily habits." Yes, I had known about Marcus' picky eating habits since high school. So I took charge of his lunches. I always found various excuses to bring them to him. He used to say that my cooking was the best in the world. I did that for 10 years. It wasn't until Marcus left you that he realized how much he couldn't bear to lose you. He would always unconsciously call your name. Ethan continued to recount. Later, Chloe learned that Marcus' ailment was a heart sickness, and I was the cause. So, she came to Riverbend. Unexpectedly, she stumbled upon me and Ethan laughing together. She took a picture and sent it to Marcus. See, this is Grace, fickle and promiscuous. She's not worth you acting foolish over every day. Marcus, wake up. When saw that photo, he instantly smashed several antique vases. He immediately intended to book a plane ticket to Northwood to confront me. But he couldn't leave Northwood. Too many matters awaited him. He could only work listlessly every day, not even seeing Chloe. Every day, he would absent-mindedly touch a photo on his desk. In the photo, a boy smiled brightly, making bunny ears behind a girl's head. Ethan chuckled at this point. Marcus probably only realized at that moment that he loved you, but it was already too late. Finally, before Henry's tombstone, I bowed deeply. Eleanor handled the funeral arrangements with great strength. Grace, it's all right. You go back.
Don't worry about Aunt.
In half a year, Eleanor's hair had turned completely white. Over the past 6 months, she had worried incessantly about her good-for-no son and her bedroom and husband.
Aunt, please take care.
She nodded, then looked at Ethan. Young man, take good care of my daughter. Don't let her get hurt again. Ethan said solemnly. Aunt, I will. Mom, I'm leaving. I called her Mom. Her eyes were already brimming with tears. Oh, my dear daughter. Although I won't see the day you truly become my daughter, I sincerely hope you'll always be safe and happy in the future. After I said goodbye to Eleanor, we rushed to the airport. Just before boarding, I heard a familiar voice.
Grace.
Marcus's eyes were wet with tears, and his lips trembled with nervousness. Don't go, please. I'm begging you. Ethan gripped my hand. Ethan, Marcus, and I need to talk things through properly. Wait for me. I reassured Ethan, letting him know I wouldn't go back. Only then did Ethan release my hand. I'll wait for you, Marcus. And I found a secluded lounge. Marcus sat on the sofa, looking travel-worn and disheveled, his eyes filled with pleading. Grace, all of this. Everything is my fault. He choked out. I didn't trust you. You know, I've been controlled by my family since childhood. I was fed up with being controlled. I thought you were all in it together, that you were just like my parents. I knew that Marcus had grown up under a strict upbringing his entire life. That's why freedom was what he longed for most. His time with Chloe gave him that freedom. I shook my head. That's not a reason to hurt me, Marcus. I once loved you deeply. He caught his breath. I once loved you with every fiber of my being. Loved you to the point of feeling utterly insignificant. I knew you hated me because of Chloe's lies, but I thought you'd at least have a shred of genuine affection for me. For that slightest bit of sincerity, I would have gladly suffered. But I later realized that the Marcus who used to protect me when we were children, perhaps he died a long time ago. Grace, don't say that. I beg you. Marcus, you knew that in my most painful years, only you and Lucky were there for me. But you killed him. And in doing so, you killed yourself, too. As I said these words, I was surprised to feel absolutely nothing. When there's no love and no hate, you truly can't be hurt anymore. Grace, please give me another chance. Okay. I've only just realized my true feelings. It's always been you. I was wrong. Everything was my fault. I can give you another Lucky. I can be your rock. I'll give you a home. With a thud, Marcus actually fell to his knees. He had always been so arrogant, so dismissive of others. Yet I never imagined he would one day kneel like this. But it was all too late. I had once swallowed my pride just to wait for him to turn back. But he never did. So now I needed to look forward. Marcus, let me go, because you don't deserve me. You never will. I threw back the words he had spoken to me at our engagement ceremony. Finally, I returned them to him. Marcus's face was pale. He clutched my sleeve. I shook him off and walked away with long strides. Outside the door, Ethan was waiting. I linked my arm through his. Marcus looked utterly defeated. He asked, his voice trembling. Are you choosing him? Ethan retorted sarcastically. Why would she choose a fickle, untrustworthy man like you? Marcus, you really think too highly of yourself. No one is supposed to revolve around you. If you keep hounding us like this, don't force me to despise you." After saying that, I didn't spare Marcus another glance and boarded the plane with Ethan. "Grace, I'll wait for you. I'll always wait for you." Marcus's voice was trembling and filled with desperation. It was nothing more than nauseating, insincere sentiment. Ethan sat beside me just as he had on the plane to Riverbend half a year ago. This time, I leaned my head on his shoulder. Just before I drifted off, I murmured, "I want to trust you this one time to believe you won't be another Marcus." Somewhere in my dream, my hand was firmly clasped. That person whispered in my ear, "I've loved you for 10 years. How could I ever be cruel enough to become another Marcus?" "Grace, thank you for giving me this chance. I will give you a home, and I will love you forever." I drifted into a sweet sleep. It felt like a beautiful dream. Epilogue: Marcus inherited Vance. He was swamped with work every day. He had learned of Chloe's underhanded schemes and spread the word that any company daring to hire her would be going against the Vance family. Chloe was completely blacklisted in Northwood. She tried to plead with Marcus for another chance. Marcus found even a glance at her repulsive. "The fact that I'm not taking your life is me being extremely merciful. Get out of my sight and never let me see you again." Chloe cried hysterically. "I just loved you too much. I didn't want to see you marry Grace. You didn't even like her. I would like anyone but you. Get out." The bodyguards forced Chloe out. From then on, Chloe vanished without a trace. No one knew where she went, but certainly had no place for her. Whenever managed to steal a moment from Am's busy schedule, he would secretly book a flight to Riverbend. But he never dared to go, and the tickets all expired. Until one of his birthdays, he gathered his courage and secretly came to Riverbend. He stealthily made his way near her house. But what met his eyes was the girl and another man laughing and playing in the yard. Marcus was driven almost mad with jealousy. All of this, it could have been his. Grace should have been his, too. The corners of his eyes were bloodshot, yet he didn't dare disturb her. He didn't want Grace to hate him. From then on, every month, he would secretly come to Riverbend to catch a glimpse of her. The girl and the man remained deeply in love. Before long, they got married. He even secretly attended the wedding and stole a bouquet. He considered it a gift from her. Marcus thought soon after she became pregnant. 10 months later, she gave birth. A year later, it was the child's first birthday celebration. 6 years later, the child started elementary school. Marcus never married until the year he grew old and gray, and she too had become an old woman. One more time. As he was about to return to Northwood from Riverbend, Grace called out to him. "It's always been you all these years, hasn't it?" For the first time, Marcus felt as flustered as he had in his youth. "Ethan really was better than me. You've had a wonderful life all these years." Grace nodded. They stood in silence, neither speaking first. Finally, Marcus broke the silence. "Grace, I'm sorry. I never made amends for the pain I caused you." Grace quietly said, "It doesn't matter anymore. Those are just old, forgotten troubles." Over the decades, many things had simply faded away. Grace smiled. Thinking back to when we were young, those dramatic, agonizing episodes seem like nothing special now. "I won't see you off. Ethan is still waiting for me to pick up our grandson." "All right." Marcus watched Grace's retreating figure and shed tears. They were tears of regret. For decades, he had trapped himself, never accepting any woman's advances. It was only because he fantasized that if Ethan ever treated her poorly, he could take Grace away, but never gave him that chance. From the very beginning, it had been his mistake. He had handed his opportunity away. "Grace, seeing you so happy in your later years, I am content." Marcus's voice was very soft. Grace couldn't hear it, but the wind did.